أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. Alhamdulillah, we've been blessed once again to be in the Azab of Abu Abdullah. This blessing is unique. We talked about the idea that this particular time is a time to understand where we need to orient ourselves again so that we are consistently in the ziyarah of our Mawla. Every year, He gives us this opportunity to ensure that throughout the year, if there was any slips that have taken us in a different direction than His ziyarah, He being the ark of salvation, which is faster, is exactly this. He brings us back. He gives us an opportunity to come back. Those individuals who year in and year out use this time to re-establish their direction are getting on the ark. Yeah? It's something that individuals, whether you like it or not, there's something in our blood which has brought the azab of Abdullah such that no power in the world will be able to extinguish this from us. That has been guaranteed by the Holy Prophet himself. You see, Nuh made his ark and the Holy Prophet made his ark. Understand? Yeah. The ark of the Holy Prophet ends up being this unique remembrance of Abu Abdullah himself. That till Qiyamah itself, it's an ark which is consistently inviting people to come on board. Yeah? Every year, the apparent manifestation of that ark occurs with the Azab Abu Abdullah, where each person and each believer is given the opportunity to come and reorient their direction. Was there something that occurred in the past year that made me slip, that made me actually turn away from Abu Abdullah? Of the 3 canvases that I had to paint, was there a canvas in which I neglected to be the assigned painter and thought myself to be the owner of the painting? We don't come to the Aza of Abu Abdullah, na'uzubillah, to give him a benefit. We come to the Aza of Abu Abdullah as beggars to take the benefit. And each individual, in both the position they sit in as a speaker or the listener, or the personage that comes to sit in that particular position, has a unique opportunity both in the personage and the position. You see it? Salawat, please. We talked about the inner canvas and made sure that, listen, if you thought that the painting was for you and not from you, you'd be making a blunder and a problem. So you have to consistently remind yourself that the painting is for someone else, but it's from you. We talked about our responsibility of directing our anger faculty and our desire faculty when it occurs within us, right, towards the transition point when it comes out. Yeah. Here I mentioned that we are both the runners of the race and we're the race itself. Okay. You see, our oneness isn't simply in the now. We're attentive of the now, but our I is something that was the same when we were 3, correct? And it's the same when we're 30, correct? Question, will it be the same when we're, let's say, 300? Inshallah. Of course. But when I say that we are the race as well, is because the oneness actually encompasses our whole existence. Not only are we present and running, but we're also the race itself. We went further and said there's a second canvas to be had. This second canvas is the canvas of the family unit. We said In that canvas, just as how the inner canvas, we had the Jamal of Allah holding a representation, a position, and the Jalal of Allah holding a position. In the family system too, there's a position held by the Jamal and the Jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Was the position holder inside flawless? No. And hence the position holder outside is also not flawless most times. Is it? The job becomes what? To ensure that the position holder gets pruned to do the responsibilities appropriately. In the family unit, the responsibility was to help nurture the needs of one another. It was not to focus on your own experience, but rather get the experience of the other's perception. Why did I say the experience of another's perception? Because you're not out to get simply an image of it. For example, if I simply have an image of an apple and I weigh it against an actual apple, right? The actual apple will consistently take my attention towards it because it's more substantial. Yeah? What I'm saying is that we're not going for just understanding and validating those around us. Rather, we're trying to experience their position. The only way we can do that is if we encompass their understandings and if stand a tie with them, that we see where they're at. Yeah? Simply knowing of someone and knowing someone. We're out there to remove the of. Yeah? When I said that you have to have the experience of the perception, I'm saying remove the of. Knowing of someone versus knowing someone. Is it? I went to a place and I was giving advice in a particular location. And an individual who knew of me, okay, and I knew of them, but never seen them. Yeah? After that particular gathering in that meeting, I knew them. Yeah? The difference between the knowing of someone and knowing someone is in how I take my attention towards them. Sometimes I take my attention towards generalizations. Yeah? Other times I take my attention towards specifics. Why is this concept so important in the family system? You see, sometimes we go to our spouses and we compliment in the general. So you're always a great cook. You always look nice. I always love you. Yeah? And the spouse's nafs in that particular point sees that and says, you like the idea of me. You don't like me. Yeah? Generalized praise always and always accompanied with that of. Yeah? Another time, a person comes, instead of saying, you're a great painter, says, I really like how the strokes for that particular sun you painted, the rays really showed how the intensity was getting less. It seems like your paint strokes were lifting off as you were going further. I like your attentiveness as you were painting that painting. You see that? This tells you that I'm not simply talking of you, I'm talking to you. You see that? I'm not giving a compliment such that it's distant from you. The compliment comes after knowing you, not before. You see the difference? A lot of the times we make this mistake. When we want to compliment those in our family unit, we end up complimenting them in the generics. And the generalization of the compliment makes the compliment no longer a compliment that is attributed to their person. It goes towards a compliment which is attributed to their position. Yeah? A husband will always tell his wife, I love you. I happen to be a husband. who happen to be a wife, I love you always. You see? The same is there when it comes to complaints. A generalized complaint and a specific one is the difference between a conflict and communication. Yeah. You never appreciate me. Versus yesterday when I asked you that question, on the third time you responded, on the second time I felt that you didn't listen to me. I was less important. Yeah. By specifying a complaint, not generalizing it, I remove some of the invoices that I'm about to hand out. You always are rude to me is an invoice from the ground to the sky. Yesterday, when we were communicating, you didn't look at me after the second try. It's no longer the invoice from the ground to the sky. When I generalize a complaint, I'm making a complaint regarding the painter. Yeah. When I give a specific complaint, I'm complaining about the painting. In our family unit, we're responsible for ensuring that both our compliments and our complaints are constructive. Both our compliments and our complaints are constructive. Salawat, please. If it happens that you're in the presence of your family and you're not able to compliment the specifics, that's a good wake-up call. In Hadith Kisa, as each individual is approaching the Holy Prophet, he makes very specific compliments. When Imam Hassan approaches the Holy Prophet, doesn't compliment him the same way as he compliments when Imam Hussein approaches. You see that? The traits used to compliment are person-specific. You see that? Even the way in which they're greeted by Sayyida Fatimatul Zahra is person-specific. In the family canvas, it's really important to understand that the swindler comes in and says, I'm going to try to help you. When your nafs wants to help and go towards the idea of complimenting your spouse or complimenting your kids, the swindler comes and says, you know, a specific compliment is low, make it general, it'll actually do more. It tells you a higher quantity is better quality. That's the swindle. In fact, a lower quantity, talking about a specific thing here, is what guarantees the quality of the compliment. In the same way, it comes, and when you want to talk about a specific event, the swindler even makes you forget what led to the emotion coming. And says, go towards the patterns and trends and complain about the trends. So you complain once and all the different scenarios are solved by that one complaint. Yeah. Tries to sell you with logic. And it swindles you. Yeah. And when you go about complaining about that particular pattern, you've invoiced larger than the specifics combined. Yeah. Words that we typically use are always, often. These are a lot less. Often are a lot less. Many times. Means what? A lot. All these are grandiose words. Yeah. And we highlight the deficiencies of an individual in this way where we make it bigger. Is it? Bigger is a comparative term, correct? Their nafs right away picks up and they feel what? Yeah, but you don't appreciate me on the other thing over there. And hence most people will get what? Defensive. Yeah. Our nafs is a quantum computer working in the background, whether you're attentive of it or not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places us in the family unit, and quantum computer is an insult to the nafs, by the way. An insult to the nafs. The nafs is something that the creator of all existence, when he created it, said, Tabarakallah. He praised himself. So if you can imagine how great the nafs is. Each nafs. In the family unit now, we're responsible for ensuring that we understand what's going on. How I project a complaint and how I project a compliment is exactly that transition point between when the anger or the desire came up within me and how I raised it to go outside. Yeah. The swindle comes at the point of transition. We have in our hadith, at the time of death, who comes to see you? The swindler. Yeah. At the time of death, the swindler comes, a guide comes too. Yeah. In the very same way, just as we're about to now express our anger faculty or our desire faculty externally, the swindle occurs there. There are times when an individual would be swindled into seeing this. They say, you know what? When I was rude to my spouse, I recognized they smartened up. When I yelled at my kids, I recognized that they smartened up. Therefore, good job, anger. You did a great job in making the other person smarten up. Yeah. The swindler comes and says, I know I pushed them, but that's what it took to get them to move. Yeah. Another way of saying that is the ends justify the means. Yeah. I know I stole $500,000, but I paid khums on it too, huh? Yeah. Azizam, if it doesn't fly there, it doesn't fly anywhere. Yeah. The swindler comes and says, look, an action I did, let's overlook itself and let's look at the effects that occurred. Okay? You forget that sometimes certain effects can occur, but why they're occurring are two very different things. We talked about the idea of Tawheed, correct? We said you get to oneness through both Jamal and Jalal, correct? At the end result, it's always oneness. How you got there, though, it's a world of a difference. We say, Ilahi, la tu'addibni bi'uqubatik. Oh God, do not please do this ta'adib, upbringing of mine with your uquba, with your anger faculty. I'm not saying don't do my upbringing. I'm saying don't let me reach you through the lens of the Jalal. See that? O the source of existence, let me come to you through what? The light, not your heat. Is it? In a very similar manner, on the family canvas, sometimes our actions might yield in what we think we want. But alas, many times men and women alike don't know what they need and what they want are two different things. I hand an iPad over to the child and the child becomes quiet and now I can think, but I've made sure that that child can never then think. Yeah. I hand a phone over consistently and make my child an addict of the phone and the screen. Yeah. As a solution to my incapability in terms of thinking creatively and thinking collectively. Yeah. Creative and collective, both things. And in purchasing a few moments of potential thought, I sell a lifetime of potential thought. Yeah. I'm not against utilizing technology to assist children in occupying their time such that it's constructive. But I am against utilizing anything in a destructive way. Salawat, please. It might be apparent that when I said an I here, no, the person doesn't hold any value. The I here means the appointed painter, meaning each and every single one of you, if you go back to this idea that you're the appointed painter, you'd come to the exact same conclusion. Yeah? You say, I'm not against entertainment constructively, I'm against entertainment if it's destructive. Yeah. Constructive and destructive towards what? We're opening the idea of the family canvas further today. The examples I'm bringing forth are the examples from the messages you have privately or publicly shared with me. Yes. And I'm adding to that certain examples which you haven't shared with me, but I think you should know. Salawat, please. Sometimes an individual gets occupied in their deficiency. They've gone to work or they're tired and they come home and they're cooked. Okay? And when they come home, let's say they had a bad day at work, they got fired. Okay? Okay? Or someone said something to them they weren't expecting. Someone was rude to them. Their nafs knows that I have to go fix something. The swindle comes in this. The swindler comes and says, look there, your spouse and your kids, go fix them. Yeah. A person knows that naturally he's going to become hyper vigilant, but instead of become hyper vigilant over what caused that deficiency outside, he becomes hyper vigilant of the deficiencies inside. Had a bad day outside, and I brought that hypervigilance to deficiency. Azizam, you were supposed to come seek rest here and think of what happened there. Look to the traits the Holy Prophet talks about under the Kisa, in Hadith Kisa. Yeah. That tells you what causes the exhaustions in the Holy Prophet on the sociopolitical canvas. It's a guidance to not only me and you, but those that are under his guardianship as well. He said, these are the traits which are required if you want to work on the socio-political canvas. You see that? He's preaching and he's teaching at multiple levels at his caliber, unfathomably high. Salawat, please. I come to the home and I'm exhausted, and I see that in my particular family unit, I've had a tough day outside. Instead of using that vigilance that Allah naturally gifts me as mercy, He gives me rahmah. And instead of converting it into rahimiyah, actual specific benefit for myself, by using that time to reflect on what happened outside, so I could fix my part in the swindles outside. You see that? A swindler comes and makes me take all that motivation fuel and dump it inside the family canvas and become hyper vigilant of every nook and cranny in the house. You see it? An individual, let's say from the mother's perspective, sees that they're getting overwhelmed at work, and the work could be outside the house or inside the house. Some people think that this idea of khanedari, taking care of the house, means staying in the house. No, Azizam. Taking care of the house is the role of a lady. Staying in the house, not necessarily. Yeah? When it came time to Ghadir, individuals who gave bay'ah were not just men. A tub of water was created where women can put their hands in one side of the water and the Imam puts his hand on the other side of the water, and women can too give bay'ah, according to some descriptions. You see that? On the socio-political canvas, the role of men and women is the same. You see that? The appearance of that role differs. Both are in charge of ensuring the justice stays and remains. How they both approach that is unique to their specific genders. The brother's responsibility becomes to take the sword out and fight against batil. The sister's responsibility becomes to ensure no one forgets that her brother took the sword out and fought against the batil. You see that? Preservation becomes the responsibility of one, and projection becomes the responsibility of the other. You see that? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We see in a very similar manner when it came time to the battles that the Holy Prophet and Amir al-Mu'mineen fought. The responsibility of the men, the Ma'sumin, Imam Ali himself, was the projection. He went out to fight. And the responsibility of the Nisa, in particular Sayyidatun Nisa, was the preservation. She was part of a team of nurses who ensured that when the wounded would come, they would be preserved. See? The role of one gender becomes to project and the others becomes to preserve. In a very similar manner, in the family unit, and I told you we're going to lean on the unit that's before to understand and to build, correct? In the family unit, the role also becomes for one to project and the other to preserve. The Baba sets the rules, the Mama helps to preserve the rules. Can they do that if they don't have communication? Can they do that if they don't share that oneness in understanding that you and me are both department heads, one from the Jalal of Allah and the other from the Jamal of Allah? It's not my way or your way, it's the owner's way. I've been given positional authority in the house regarding certain things, but not all things. I don't own the house. There are times when a child does something and a father might feel that this child's behavior, because it's indicative of me, I have to fix it. Instead of going to fix the behavior to grow that child, the father's out to ensure that there's no blemish on his particular social image. And in that particular miscalibration might actually damage the child. The child gets taught, in front of others, don't do this or that, as opposed to Aziz Dilam, this or that is something you should fear and stay away from. You see that? Big difference, huh? A person goes towards criticizing even in the specifics, but the motivation becomes what? Personal, not positional. You see it? That's where the swindle lies. In another canvas that's called nepotism. Yeah. On the sociopolitical canvas, if I come and I say this guy because he's my uncle, Uncle Tom, we're going to keep Uncle Tom as in charge of that department. Why? Because he's my uncle. We can't do that. Uncle Tom doesn't know A or B or C of that department. Might as well recite the Fatiha for the department. Anytime in the family unit, a compliment or a correction doesn't account for the position, you're in trouble. I said doesn't account. You're complimenting specific things, but just because I like to joke around and pull like this and do that, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to compliment the specific things, and how I go about doing that too, I'm going to ensure as a Baba, as a husband, I maintain my position. I like to pull your cheeks and rub your hair and grab you and throw you around in here and there, but on a positional standpoint, is that what a Baba and this sinner needs to do or not? Especially after you're crying and screaming and saying, please leave me alone. Yeah. I went out to compliment. I complimented on a specific, but because I was not attentive of the how, I got swindled in the how. The what remained salim. I was attentive up to there, but in the how to enact that particular what, I got swindled. It's really important to understand that both the what is important in our actions at home, and actually sometimes more important than the what is the how. Consider this analogy, please. If all of us are thirsty and I bring a glass of water or a tiny cup filled of water or a jug of water, but I put in 1% petrol in it, okay? All of a sudden, if someone says, what is that? It's water. Drink, you're thirsty, water. No. Look, it's just 1%. 99% it's water. You see it? The what, the container itself, loses all value when the how is not catered for. You see it? I went to complain, and I went to complain in a generic way. Why? Because I thought I was going to fix things. And because I got swindled in the how and complained in a generic way, my complaint became an attack. God forbid someone says, Azizam, you're attacking me, don't attack. And I retaliate by saying, you're too sensitive. You see that? We are painters on the family canvas, representatives assigned, hired by who? None other than our master. In Karbala, we learn exactly this, that it's not that I'm the owner of this canvas. I don't own the position. I've been blessed with it. Yeah. And hence, I can say, this is how I am, deal with it. Because that statement is not being said to my partner or child, it's being said to the owner of the position. And God save the one who says that attentively to the owner of the position. Salawat, please. We're gathered here to commemorate a unique shaheed today. You see, most people think that the position and personage of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, right, was different than Imam Hussein alayhi salam's. Yeah? They're partially correct, but the whole truth is not that. How do the two differ? Imam Hussein alayhi salam was under the guardianship of Imam Hassan. In the life of Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein was there, correct? Who was the Imam of Imam Hussein at that time? Imam Hassan. How do we know this? He said it himself. After the peace treaty of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, individuals from the side of Imam Hassan who said, "Na'a, we too want to fight the enemy, but we disagree on how the Imam is fighting the enemy. We want to fight the enemy with a different how. He wants to fight them through restrictions by a peace treaty. We want to restrict them through the sword." Yeah. Those who didn't align with the how of the Imam, okay, but were in agreement with the what of the Imam, okay, came to Imam Hussein and said, "Could you please offer us an alternative how?" Abu Abdullah tells them, "Woe be unto you. The command is from your master and mine." Your master and mine. Abu Abdullah obeys the command of his master once again in Karbala. You see, the night before, when Abu Abdullah is talking to his companions, there's a Qasim ibn Hassan who's sitting there. And Qasim is looking at the faces of the companions, and as Abu Abdullah is talking to them and pointing to them that they will attain Shahada, he sees their face brighten and become at peace. They're happy that they're with their master. The swindler will not be able to swindle them. The master is guaranteeing it for them. This knowledge makes them calm and happy. Before that, they're still uncertain, scared of who? The Mal'un swindler. You see that? Qasim ibn Hassan goes to his master and says, "Oh, Abu Abdullah, will I also attain this particular position of Shahada as well?" You see? Some riwayat say Abu Abdullah asked him, "How do you see death, O Qasim?" A very similar thing attributed to Hazrat Ali Akbar as well. Hazrat Qasim says something very unique to Abu Abdullah. He says, "Ahla min al-asal." Sweeter than honey. Sweeter. The family of Imam Hassan, raised by Imam Hussein, does not exaggerate. What does it mean that it's sweeter than honey? Honey has a unique property. Honey is sweet and preserved. Honey doesn't go bad. Honey is a substance which, if you keep to the side and if it's pure in its essence, it will crystallize, but it won't go bad. See it? It will solidify, but it won't go bad. It's a unique substance which has a long preservation. Qasim ibn Hassan is saying, this death will preserve my existence near the Jamal of Allah at the highest level. Yeah. The understanding of a young individual brought up in the household of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein is such. He sees death in protecting the Mawla and his message, something that preserves him in the highest level, closer to the Jamal of Allah, towards the beauty of Allah. He finds it to be beautiful. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Please recite together. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين يا إمام المجتبى, we're your guests once again this day. Some think your liver was cut to pieces at the time of your shahada. Alas, I tell them, your liver was cut, but not done right time when your mother had a piece of paper in her hands. And she walked toward her Mawla, her Imam, hoping to assist him with this paper in hand. And on that journey, corruption embodied in a man approached her and hurt her before your eyes. You mention in hadith, O Imam, that you saw those individuals later on, and you clenched your fist and had to have severe patience. Your liver was at night. It only appeared to be cut on your Shahada day. O our master, your son as well had a paper in hand. You see, Qasim ibn Hassan went to Abu Abdullah and says, "Oh Ammu, I would like to go and sacrifice myself to defend the haram of Allah, the haram of Rasulullah, your haram, O Abu Abdullah." And Imam Hussein alayhi salam looks to this child, Qasim ibn Hassan, this 13, perhaps 14-year-old child, and says, "Oh Qasim, how can I let you go? I can't give you permission to go out and fight." The narrations say Abu Abdullah when he said this to Qasim, Qasim starts to cry. For he's being withheld from the honey, he sings. He goes towards the tents as it's narrated, and he's sitting down and remembers that there's a parchment given to him, that if there's a difficult time where you need assistance, oh my son, open this particular parchment to seek assistance from me. He opens that parchment and runs towards his master, Imam Hussein. On the way, his face now is bright like the companions the night before, for he knows that Abu Abdullah is an individual absolutely obeying his Imam. He approaches Abu Abdullah and says, "Oh Master, would you accept this letter from your own master?" Above the lyrics that is narrated, they both fall to the floor crying. One is crying because he doesn't want to be separated from the source of purity. The other is crying because he doesn't want to be separated from the one he raised in purity. Alas, the eye is made into half, for the full would not fit the head of Qasim ibn Ding. Individuals come out, those who had animosity towards Abu Abdullah, and those who had animosity towards Imam al-Mujtaba, come and try to take that animosity out on that child. The narration states that an individual comes and knocks down Qasim onto the floor, and as Qasim calls out to Abu Abdullah is running towards Qasim ibn Hassan. The narration states that an individual who was attacking Hazrat Qasim at that time gets scared and runs. And in the running of the horses away from Abu Abdullah, they trample the body of Qasim onto Karbala. Alas, when Abu Abdullah is reaching Qasim, he's seeing the child who he raised brave before his master while enduring all the pain. Alas, O Qasim, may my mother and father be sacrificed for you. They trampled your body once. Come to the day of Ashura. Come to the evening of Ashura. They trampled the body of your master Hussein, and then they turned the body to trample it yet again. Oh, Qasim, at that time there was no one coming towards the body to protect it. Women were watching and held away, and our master's body was for Allah on display. May Allah accept this qaleel ibadah from us. May He allow us to be those individuals who use these times to get onto the ark of salvation with attention and reorient ourselves in our direction. And may He allow us to be those individuals who assist our master in every situation, whether he be apparent before us or whether we be apparent before him, Matem Hussein.